Hi, everybody. Welcome to our third episode of Deception in Healthcare in America with Kathy, Ann, and Jennifer. And today we have a very interesting topic, and it is about being misdiagnosed in the healthcare system. And I have been misdiagnosed quite a few times in my life, and I know Jennifer has been misdiagnosed as well. My mother has been misdiagnosed in a very big way. And I just want to tell you guys, so there's some studies done on misdiagnoses, and I want to throw out some numbers for you guys because it's almost mind-boggling, okay? So about 1 in 18 emergency department patients receive an incorrect diagnosis, okay? 1 in 18
That's a lot.
receive an incorrect diagnosis. It is a lot. And 1 in 50 suffer an adverse event, and 1 in 350 suffer permanent disability or death. Okay.
And right there on that one, 795,000 people die or experience permanent disability. So that number,
Yes.
however you look at it, the perspective that you're coming at the statistic, that's due to my misdiagnosis, and that's just the worst cases.
Yes.
795,000 following
Yes.
that 1 in 350. That number
It's true.
actually looks like.
And so we don't have an accurate number because you can't go to every hospital in America and get the numbers. So this is a
Or knock
study.
on the door of every home, because this is in every
Yes.
home. This
Yes.
hits home for, I know everybody we're talking to.
Yes. So these numbers are estimates based on these studies, but they give a plausible range of anywhere from 598,000 to over 1,000,000 people who become permanently disabled or die. So there's like a big range in there because we don't have an accurate number. We just have a study, and based upon the study, they give
that were
an estimate.
reported.
Yeah.
That were reported. And
So-
that were also either died or permanent disability. This is not people like even yours or mine. And ours were
Yes.
serious. Very
Yes.
serious. Life-threatening.
Yes. Yes. So I mean, it's wild.
It's unacceptable.
It is
To say
unacceptable.
the least. It's bizarre. It's yeah.
So I also have another study where somebody looked at patient records, 2,428, and in those records, delayed diagnosis took place 23% of the time. That's like almost a quarter.
Delayed diagnosis.
So out of 2,428 patients, there was a delayed diagnosis in 23%.
Which,
Isn't
you
that
guys,
crazy?
delayed just means later down the road. Which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
well, I guess there's delayed and then there's misdiagnosed. So those are two, I guess the delayed diagnosis would be, well, we just don't know and we're gonna keep fishing, and then delayed is just later on. The misdiagnosis would be like with me or you, where, oh, it's this, and then you guys keep, you change it or whatever.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So, but there are actually 5 conditions that are misdiagnosed the most. And the number one is a stroke. So the number one misdiagnosed condition is a stroke. Number 2 is a myocardial infarction.
Which that's all vascular, kind of neuro on the first one, but vascular and neuro. Mm-hmm.
The third one is an aortic aneurysm. Number 4 is a spinal cord injury. And number 5 is a venous thromboembolism, which I don't know what that is.
Well, a lot of those are vascular. Like I had kind of went off on that a little bit more, and it was the vascular events, infections, and cancers. Those were like the most common. So I guess are the three most common. It depends on what website you're looking at, but I mean those are all a lot of those go around vascular. A lot of stuff that you were just listing.
Yeah, those 5 make
vascular.
up 39% of misdiagnoses. It is scary because so I actually thought I was having a stroke, and I did not go to the hospital. I went to my ophthalmologist because what happened was, in my injury, my pupil had enlarged greatly in my right eye, and then my eyelid was slightly droopy. Okay. And so those are signs of a stroke. I didn't have like a speech problem or was completely like disoriented. It was just physical with the eye, the droopiness in the pupil. And so I went to
Your
my
vision was impaired as well, right? Isn't this when you kind of freaked out and had the vision impairment? This has been almost 3
yeah.
years ago.
It was a little less than 2 years ago.
Okay. Well,
But yeah,
then
I was having. It felt like my eyeball was popping out of my head, and it
mhm,
was blurry.
I
And
remember.
so I
Yeah.
went to my eye doctor because I had already gone to the emergency room for other symptoms, and they
Right.
just treated me like I was an idiot, gave me a pain cocktail, and then sent me on my way and didn't address anything that was wrong with me. So I
Because
did not go back.
we only do immediate, take out
Yeah.
the immediate threat. So since it's
Yes.
not a stroke, okay, you need to go see,
Yes.
the ophthalmologist because we don't do eyeballs here. So get out, you know.
Yeah. It was more than an eyeball when I went to the
Right.
emergency room.
Right.
But but like they didn't take it as a whole. They
That's what I'm
just
saying.
they
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
grasped onto one thing. And so I went to the eye doctor because it costs a lot to go to the emergency room, and to be treated like an idiot and then sent on my way wasn't worth the money. And so my eye doctor, he goes, "Yeah, your pupil is large." And he's like, "Yeah, your eyeball is popping out of your head." I think he said it was 2 millimeters. And I said, "Will you send me to the emergency room?" Because I thought if he sent me, they would take me seriously there. And he said no. He would not send me to the emergency room. What if I really was having a stroke? And that's the number one misdiagnosis. Now, I didn't, but I showed signs of a stroke because I had a neck injury and then I had an enlarged pupil and a droopy eyelid afterwards.
Me too.
So,
That's a huge, that's a huge one.
yeah,
My mother-in-law had a stroke, and that was her main thing, and it drooped with the edge of her lip.
yeah.
Hmm.
But and I just want to tell you, they never did figure out what was wrong with my eye. To
I
this
remember.
day,
I remember they gave
nobody
you
knows.
medication that they couldn't place and get a hold of. Do you remember that?
Yeah, so that was when I had
Like an
iritis.
antibiotic or something, and they couldn't locate it or get the right one, or and then they
Yes.
get a whole spill on China, and they can't get stuff,
So I
which
had
was
double
a hard
iritis
time to
for
access insulin at the time as well. That's why I remember.
yes. Yes.
Crazy.
So
In America, this is America. This is not a third world country.
for real, for real. So I actually was misdiagnosed. I had thyroid cancer, okay? And but my biopsy or aspiration they call it came out benign for my thyroid nodule. And
Hmm.
so they told, and I said, "I want it removed." I said, "It doesn't need to be there. Can I have it removed?" And they said, "No, we just
Hmm.
monitor them. And since your nodule came back benign, we're going to monitor it once a year." See, I wasn't satisfied with that.
Right.
So I got all new doctors, and my new primary care doctor sent me to an endocrinologist. And she goes, "With all your symptoms and the size of your nodule, let's just remove it." And so I said, "Okay." And I had thyroid removal surgery. They removed my total thyroid plus the nodule. And I had stage 1 papillary thyroid cancer. So
Yeah. It was.
the doctor,
Yeah.
the doctor said there was nothing wrong with me. As a matter of fact, he said I had mental health problems and he suggested I see a psychiatrist. So he labeled me as mentally ill when I really had cancer. So if that's not a misdiagnosis, I don't know what is.
So you could have sat
So
in the psychiatrist's office for the next 6 months had you even probably lived that long. Because tell them the size of your. Remember, it was so heavy or so big. I
so
came back
my nodule,
later.
it was actually
Uh,
it was I can't remember the exact size. It was medium. So it wasn't small and it wasn't like huge that you had like a big bulge. It was medium size, but it was large enough to where you had to get an aspiration to check for cancer.
I was gonna say
So
it was alarming the size. I mean, it definitely was.
so
Yeah.
it required an aspiration, and then it came back benign, which is so I mean I just found that shocking that you would have cancer and your your aspiration would come back benign. So
And people need
but
to realize
even
thyroid, where it's placed, like the location, and that could have spread. I mean, your thyroid runs everything in your body. It regulates everything from mood to different organ functions, and it could have just
yeah,
been
It would have spread into your lymph nodes first, so it would have spread to your lymph nodes. And could you imagine if it spread? Because I would have to have my lymph nodes removed. I mean, it would have been a mess. If I would have listened, it would have spread.
Yeah, you would have
And
lost critical time to, well, be where you're at now and talk
yeah,
about it, tell other people. It's just, yeah, it's unreal. It's unreal. I
so
know you came down 2 weeks later, your scar was still fresh, and as if that wasn't big enough, you were really facing something else. I wasn't even, I didn't come down to, hang out with you and check on you behind, a little nice little scar they made there. So that the rest of it's, even as bad as that is, that was barely a piece of your story of misdiagnosis.
I have been misdiagnosed so many times. But since we're on cancer, and
Mm-hmm.
mine was, I had cancer, but I was diagnosed as mentally ill for my symptoms. He said my symptoms were that of a mentally ill person. Okay. But I want to talk about my mom real quick because
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, you said the top three, and the top three were cancer. I had a cancer misdiagnosis. My mom also had a cancer misdiagnosis. So for years, she went to doctors. And I don't know what she said there, but she was having strange symptoms. She wasn't like herself. And so she wanted to know what was going on. And they told her she was mentally ill, tried to prescribe her like antipsychotic, antidepressants, and she refused to take them. Okay. This
Thank
went
you.
on for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she ended up dying. Okay. Uh, at her autopsy, she had colon cancer. Okay. So she was going to these doctors who were telling her she was mentally ill because of her symptoms, but she really had colon cancer. But
Mm-hmm.
nobody ever figured it out because they were too busy saying she was crazy. That's a misdiagnosis right there. The diagnosis was colon cancer, but what they said was she was mentally ill. So,
Yeah. Mm.
cancer being top, what did you say, top three?
Well, yeah, I just pulled like the top three. I mean, like major, the major ones. Sorry, that
So,
one just kind of, wow. That's just, that one's just too much.
so you
That,
go in,
that's a lot to swallow.
yeah. But, I was talking to my brother who's a doctor, and he says when patients go in there with like a list of these, all these symptoms, you confuse a doctor and you need to dumb it down. Okay. So for me, if I go in there, my symptoms were large. It was like headaches, pain, and it was all different kinds of pain radiating. And my brother is just like, if you go in there and list all these symptoms, you're confusing. They don't know what to do with you.
Okay, well, we're not doctors. Just speaking from the perspective of people who, let's just say, even have minimal information or understand like medical terminology and how the medical system works, which we've had to learn on our own. But when you take it from our side of the chair, it's like, when you finally come to the point where you want to go seek help for something that you're experiencing, and your body, and all of a sudden something has changed, something doesn't feel right, something, and you don't have a name for it, and they want to first thing like point and say that you're crazy or whatever. Well, I mean, actually, there's not our mental health. A lot of people don't look at or address or even take care of their mental health. First of all, we're up here running on, like a low charge and empty battery. So when something like this, and this is not a small thing, when your body jumps up and throws up a red flag or 10 red flags, by the time it does that, your body's already exhausted. So actually, mentally, you do struggle mentally, and your mental health is not where it needs to be. It doesn't mean you're crazy, but I have yet to meet anybody, including myself, where they sit you down and talk to you like this, and you're already under stress and duress, and then they make it worse. And so you do end up where your mental health is not where it's supposed to be. It doesn't mean you're crazy though. And I just wanted to kind of touch on that, because I have yet to meet a person who didn't tell me, they either made me feel crazy or they told me you might need to go speak with a psychologist. They either
Yeah.
refer them, or they just kind of tell them, whoa, you need to slow those horses down, and you need to, your brain is, or you're making this up, or you're making it worse. You're stressing your body, and you're just having stress symptoms.
Yeah.
It's like they just very dismissive.
Yeah.
That's the word I can come up with. And my daughter's had, even some issues with doctors. I don't know. She wants me sharing all those things, but just some of it was simple, but not simple. It was causing a lot of havoc in her life, just like a vitamin deficiency or something. And I think she saw over 3 years, she saw several doctors, even cardiologists, and we're thinking at some point she even has heart issues, and it was a vitamin D deficiency. But do you not know, over this period of time, as young as she is, like you and I are older, which still doesn't mean that we can handle things better, but we kind of can. When you have somebody, their frontal lobe's not even developed, and they're sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, I have something really bad wrong with me. Maybe I'm even dying. Do I have heart problems at 18 years old? And it's vitamin D, and no one cares to go and check this one fundamental vitamin that's in your body. It's actually a hormone, by the way. Vitamin D is a hormone. It's not even really a vitamin. But yeah, that's you think that person's not gonna feel crazy or sound crazy. Yes, that is a lot for anyone to deal with. I don't care if it's cancer or a vitamin deficiency or diabetes. And yeah, our brains, they're amazing. They can, they can jump in and switch gears and go over here and compensate until it can't compensate anymore. And these doctors, this one's just, yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're almost
mom. I was coming back around to your mom. That's where your mom was at. She was like, nobody's listening. I have nobody on my side. I'm telling you guys how I feel. You're telling me I'm crazy, but your mom was how old? How old was she?
She was 59.
Okay, 59. So she's 59 years old. This woman has no record of, kind of like you, has no record of anything in the hospital other than having children, maybe had an occasional cold or a flu, or got a vaccination if she was required. Whatever went on. Just the average, follow the average healthcare protocol in America, nothing outside of that. And you walk in and you make that outcry. And mom, I know your mom. Your mom was one of those people, she didn't even complain. Like, I don't even ever remember your mom saying, I don't even remember her laying down saying, hey, I'm tired, you guys. I'm so tired, and just kicking her heels up. Your mom was like nonstop, like, get shit done. Sorry, you guys. That was your mom. My mom was like that too. Like, that was normal for us to see.
Yeah.
There was no quitting them. Got up when they got up. They took care of business and no complaining. Headache. I never heard your mom complain about a thing. So to go in front of a doctor and you have no file to look at and say, oh, well, she's a hypochondriac, or she's a complainer, or she's, it's unacceptable. I just don't know. I don't know how they live with themselves with that information in front of them, since they want to go off information. The information, there was no information. So they should have been looking really hard.
Yes. You think that the first appointment, you're going to say what you need to say. Of course, they only give you like 15 or 20 minutes to sum everything up, right?
It's 7 minutes now in the United States.
Is it 7 minutes?
Can spend with you. Your average physician, I think they have 14 minutes with the specialist. So like your endocrinologist, your nephrologist, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. So you get 15 minutes with the doctor. You can't articulate your lifetime and who you are, and then your symptoms. They just make a snap judgment about you. Oh, this lady, she's like in menopause or something. She's a, this, that, and the other. And, they just dismiss you, and like you become desperate almost. You go to the next doctor and you're like, please listen. And no one's listening. And there's like desperation in your voice, and oh, you're stressed. Oh, I think you're mentally ill. This is what it's like when somebody's mentally ill, but you're not. You just want to shake them, and you're like, please listen, please understand. And they don't.
Yeah, they need to change their protocol. So, they need to look at your history, just like we should treat anyone in our life. Just like if you're dating someone, or you're just met a new friend, you don't just jump in there. And no, there has to be a history. There's got to be a trust. And so with a doctor, it would be, okay, they're telling me this. Now I'm going to go look, what is the history? What is the history, so I can build a trust? Oh, this history looks, wonky. Oh, there's nothing here. So I really need to take a look at this. Like this doesn't sound good. Like this could be so many things, just like I said, when you're dating someone or meeting a new person, like, I teach my kids, well, when I was with somebody, but I got to teach my daughter, like, when you date somebody, you start building a track record with them, and that's all you have to go on. So doctors need to do the same thing.
Yeah, they do. They do.
It's a health relationship. It is a relationship. You should have a relationship, Yeah. That's what it is.
So, of these 795,000 people who have been misdiagnosed and become permanently disabled and died, Well, just think that my misdiagnosis, my mom's misdiagnosis, your misdiagnosis, we are not in this statistic because it's never been reported. This just kind of happened privately between me and a doctor.
Or my daughters. Actually, they were
Yeah, and it's
diagnosed as having
yes,
a panic anxiety disorder behind a vitamin
yes.
D deficiency, by the way.
So if you think about all these instances that aren't reported, they just kind of, they're just little misdiagnoses, amongst the doctor and the patient. It never gets reported because
Nope.
what's there to report? So people are
Well, it
probably
would be
being misdiagnosed.
incompetency. They're not going to do that either.
Yeah,
They're not going to report incompetency. They're not going to
yeah.
do that. We know
And
this.
some of the doctors who misdiagnosed me never even knew they misdiagnosed. So the number of misdiagnoses is probably humongous.
Oh,
Okay?
it's astronomical. It's astronomical. I
Yeah.
promise you. It's going to be maybe even 10, I'm sorry, maybe even 10 times what we're looking at for the almost a million misdiagnoses that are reported. And this is just, like we were saying, this really, I want to stress to you guys, that's if they have died or are permanently disabled. We're talking,
Yeah.
when we say permanently disabled, we mean quality of life it's bad. It's
Yeah.
deplorable. It's bad.
Yes.
So yeah,
So,
imagine anything outside of that where somebody's just a walking, talking like us. We lived it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, and then we moved on, and it's never a part of the studies or the numbers. We're just we're lost. We're lost in the sauce, as my daughter likes to say. We're lost in the
yeah.
sauce. Sorry, you guys. I'm a little corny. Oh
But
man.
but over my journey, I have been misdiagnosed many times, and it ranges from being mentally ill to there's nothing wrong with you to you have a disc bulge. But I did finally get my real diagnosis for my injury, and it is neurogenic thoracic outlet syndrome. It took more than a year to get the correct diagnosis. It took a lot of gaslighting, doctor hopping. I used to joke. I still do joke about it, that my life was like a version of Quantum Leap, that I would jump from doctor to doctor to doctor, hoping to jump to the right doctor. That's how I describe my life for almost 2 years, okay? um, because I was getting all these misdiagnoses and I knew they were wrong, but the doctor swore they were right. I mean, um, so
Yeah, you definitely did. And almost in that same time period, it overlapped. It was some stuff with my daughter. I had gotten past mine and gotten my actual diagnosis in 21. I was actually properly diagnosed as a type 1. And it was life changing because the medicines all, new medicines and new ways of using medicine were opened up to me so I could have some actual control and whatnot. But like my daughter was in that, she went from her senior year till just recently. This entire time, I mean, she's been to endocrinologists, cardiologists, two cardiologists. I mean, top notch. One was in that Dallas area. He was amazing. And he actually, everyone kind of kept saying, go back and check this, go back and check this. And we ended up back in just a regular physician office. And I went in and I requested labs because I'm a nutritionist. I said, I'm going to go back to they want to dumb me down. I'm going to go back and think it's not dumb, but they want to dumb me down. And instead of looking at all these big words and all these, I'm going to go back to the foundation. Like you've always said, they've lost their way. So I'm going to go back and think like the average normal person or the nutritionist would think. And we have to eat right. I think everybody would agree you should get most of your nutrition from your food. So I go back and look at supplementation, because we're not getting everything in this day and time, right? And so I start asking for like you were telling me about B12. I even had her B12 check. But there's people that die because they're deficient in B12. It makes them really sick. And if you don't catch it, I mean, yeah, you can't be deficient in B12. You can't be deficient in some of your B vitamins. A lot
yeah,
of people have like dizzy spells and passing out, and they're deficient on B complex vitamins, and which, by the way, you should never just go take, especially those. I mean, you can really make yourself sick, but just checking those basic vitamins and having that come back, and then everybody's like, whoa. And then, they're just kind of like, whoa, there's no, I'm sorry. One of these offices, this was our second or third time back in there, the endocrinologist actually, his physician's assistant or nurse practitioner, whatever, I don't know if that's the same thing, but she is a woman. And so she's sitting here listening to all this. and she decided that she said, why not check her vitamin D, why not? And we checked thyroid and we checked everything else, but vitamin D was, I mean, it was like a 17. Like on the low end of optimal is 50.
Wow. I mean, like, if they're gonna
And
run like a panel, why not just run a full panel? I mean, like,
yeah,
I don't understand.
yeah, well,
Like,
that's not a part of the full panel. That's not a part of your metabolic, that's not even part
why
of, and
not?
it's hormone. It's a hormone. So yeah,
Yeah,
so during your time of doing all that, and my daughter had been to two, she was going through her own thing, but yours was just, yours was, unreal. Like I was mentally trying to support the both of y'all, and I just know I can't even imagine walking in either one of y'all's shoes because y'all kept being told, well, there's not, like my daughter, well, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. You need to go. If you have like a panic and anxiety disorder, you need to learn to breathe and you need to learn to go walk and get some sunshine. And the sunshine is probably the best advice they gave her, but she needed more sunshine than what she's absorbing.
uh-huh.
She needs supplementation, but it's like with you, well, you're just crazy. You need to go home and find something to do.
Yeah,
You don't have enough on your plate. You're just crazy. You need to go,
yeah,
feel
yeah.
be
We
more
we do
productive
we
and
think you're
proactive.
having a panic attack. You're panicking. We need to
And
put you on
so
Zoloft. We're
you
gonna
were,
give you 100 milligrams.
I was gonna say, like, at the point that starts making you feel to a point where you like when you're low on vitamin D, you're depressed, you are anxious, you're all these things. So what if my daughter had ended up in a therapist's office and took a bunch of, you know, I forget what they're called, the uptake,
Antidepressant
whatever
medicines.
the uptake for serotonins are. I
Yeah,
forget
like Zoloft. They're
right,
antidepressants, I guess.
because they boost your serotonin levels, and that would actually lead someone to go further, and then maybe even that would that crosses the blood brain barrier, and you can change the way somebody thinks when all you had to do was go back and maybe check. And same with you, what if they had sent you to do that and you have cancer growing in your thyroid,
Yeah,
but you're
I mean,
sitting in a psychologist's office maybe be taking something because you feel like you're losing your mind, and this actually kind of carries you along until I don't know what point it would get to, but what you had was very aggressive. I mean, tell people that's even rare. It's rare,
um,
isn't it? Even in
it
your,
wasn't. It was papillary thyroid. So
but
it's the common one.
isn't it kind of
But
rare?
it would have spread. It would have continued to spread, and there's no telling how far it would have spread
And you
until
can
you would have
psychiatrist
noticed.
if you listen to your doctor. You
If
just
I
need
would have
to
listened to the doctor, my
help.
cancer would have grown, and we wouldn't know where I was today.
Yeah, I might not be talking to you at all, and you
Yeah,
couldn't even. Yeah,
I
that's
I don't know where
it's
we
like
might not even catch it right now. I mean, maybe it would be I would be sitting in a therapist's office while
mhm.
my lymph nodes are
Yeah,
being,
exactly.
infected.
This
I
over and
don't
over,
know.
over and over and over. A
So
lot of people I talk to, like I can't, like I'm there. They hire me, so I can't go over details and stuff. But this happens to a lot of people. A lot of people.
it does. If anyone you talk to,
Yours is the most bizarre. Yours is the most bizarre. I mean, it's just unreal. And your mom's is just, it's sickening. It's sickening. It's not
what is it?
sickening because this was back in what? How many years has it been now? This was in the early 2000s, middle
So she died
2000s.
12 years ago. So it was 12 years ago. But
Right.
she'd been going through this for, I want to say,
Yeah, like
probably at least 3 years. So
several years
15
before
years,
that.
15 years ago.
So there still
Um,
was like a lot of things now are more, we have more awareness and stuff for some stuff, but I think, yeah, it's just, she just got dismissed. I mean, bottom line, she
yeah.
was dismissed,
Um,
and
dude,
it's heartbreaking, and it was life changing for your entire family. She's not here anymore
yeah.
because,
It's actually because of her that I fought so hard.
right,
Because of her. And I I did not, I went to the doctors and, I just rejected what they said. They were lying to me. They weren't telling me the truth. And I was going to get the truth and I was going to find my answer and I was going to do it because my mom was never able to do it because, and, the same thing that happened to her was happening to me and I could see it. And I fought back. Okay. I fought back. And part of
well,
this podcast is about me fighting back.
right. I was gonna say her death was not in vain. She actually like passed a torch of perseverance to you, and
Yeah.
it is very clear. And if anybody just knows you and even they just meet you within a few hours or whatever of talking to you if you get on that honest level or that medical topic area. It's very clear and evident. Yeah, she definitely passed that on to you, and you'll pass that on to your girls, and it's empowered your family and your life because you have 3 daughters, and you have a husband. You have 3 young daughters. They're not even grown. They couldn't take care of themselves now if they needed to, and they could be motherless. They really could be. I mean, we're not even just throwing this out here like I guess you could even go to as far as to say they should be. Had you just taken what they gave you, the little apple they gave you, and ate the apple and sat there and waited to die,
Yeah.
it just got so bad. I don't know. You could have been a part of one of the permanently disabled people. I don't know, because that's pretty serious. That could have spread like super fire because of the location.
Yes. So, and that wasn't even like that. That's only like a blip in the story, because the real story was my neck injury,
Right.
from a chiropractor.
Right. This was stumbled.
And and it was like an incidental find, the nodule, from an MRI for my neck to see if like my neck was broken.
Because your initial complaint, you went in with the neck pain, and so to anyone listening, I think we might have skipped over that part. She went in, and so they were looking at clavicle, they were looking at neck, they were looking at shoulder. So that's how her throat was in that. So
my throat, it was a neck one. But the thing is, and one of my complaints is I had a complaint about my neck and like my upper extremity on my left, but they only gave me a neck MRI, and I couldn't understand why they didn't give me a full MRI, like from the top of my head to like my mid back, so we could see what was wrong. And it took a couple of years to actually get all my MRIs, and they wouldn't even give me like a full X-ray, which we found out I had scoliosis and S-curve, which was contributing. But they did everything in pieces, and nobody would take me as a whole. They would only take me in pieces. And so it's hard to put together if you can't look at me and what's happening as a whole, and you're just, one doctor looks at my scapula, one doctor looks at my neck, one doctor looks at my head, one doctor looks at my eye. Nobody knows what's going on. I need like a team to put the whole together.
Right. Which, is sad, because people don't get that unless you like have cancer. And I want to go with that. But like, if they know you have cancer, you get like a team of 5 or 6 people. You have a neurologist, you have all kinds of people that help you. My son, we had found a tumor on his back, and thankfully it wasn't cancerous, but he was so young, like they jumped right on it. Within 2 days we were down there. He's got this team of people helping him from his brain down, even through his heart, everything. But like you or me coming there, and clearly you start looking at someone, and it's just like when they run your metabolic panel, they don't look at it collectively. They look at it individually. They pick one piece, number, and go crazy. When you're missing a really big piece, you have to look at things collectively, all together. And we're the same way. Our body, our pancreas doesn't operate over here on its own. Your brain doesn't go over here. And all these things operate, they're in tune. It's an ebb and flow system. And when one thing gets out of whack, your body is amazing at stepping in and compensating until it's like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I've done as much as I can do. I need some help here. And that's what was going on with you. And
so you I would go
little piece.
Yes. So they found a disc bulge, 2 of them at C4 and C5, and they jumped on it. They totally missed the fact that I was injured, and I reported my injury, that I was injured in the neck. They saw something and they jumped on it. And of course I had like the diagnostic testing with the injection, and it wasn't the disc bulge, but they just found something and they jumped on it, but they didn't hear me. They didn't see my eye, oh, your eye's not your neck, and we're a neck doctor. They couldn't put it all together.
And what's crazy? Think back on that, you guys, she went to a chiropractor and I always still feel like it's my fault, because my kids had such great results from going to one, but I had no idea that there was incompetent, mispracticing chiropractors out there that would take someone in without x-raying them. My kids didn't even have, my son's back injuries were pretty bad, but like even my daughter, she's just like, I have pain from painting and this and that in my neck and this, x-rays. Then they get the x-rays, they bring the parents in or whoever, or just that person. If they're an adult, they go over everything. They let you know what they think they may or may be able to do. And sometimes they won't even mess with your neck. Sometimes they won't give you any therapy of any kind. They'll say, look, I think this, I can't do anything with this. And so for you, they just call you in and pop your neck,
Yes.
which the eyes and all this stuff you guys happen afterwards. So what's crazy is people have strokes, like I'm not gonna say all the time, but this happens where somebody gets their neck popped and they have a stroke a few hours later because all that your neck where like it stems off into your brain, your optic
Yes.
nerves and other things.
Yeah, they sever like one of your arteries, which causes a stroke.
Yes.
And I was having stroke symptoms with my eye,
And you may
and
have had
they wouldn't even like justify that.
you very well may have had a mini stroke, and if they don't get you in there and catch those C-reactive proteins within a certain time frame of it happening, you know, my dad's mom, I think she had something like 30 miniature strokes or something like that, and they knew she was having them, but by the time they'd get her in, they're like, well, because they go looking for it in the blood, they look for these C-reactive proteins that are released, and they've got to meet whatever their level requirements are, which is that's a whole nother story. These levels that they adjust when they get ready to. But anyway.
Yes. So being misdiagnosed in our healthcare system is, I would say it's pretty common. It's pretty common. The numbers are really high.
And it's criminal if you ask me. It's criminal. I really believe it's criminal.
So again, we're looking at 795, that's an estimate. I mean, they say the range is somewhere between 598,000 to over 1 million of the most heinous kind, permanently disabled or dying, and stuff like ours where we came back from it. It's never even in there. So,
no.
So you really have to be, again, your own advocate,
proactive in your own, seek clarification, y'all. Like ask, and if you still don't get what you need there, go make another appointment. If they won't, try to get a referral, be really nice. Try to get a referral and move around until somebody, because you may have to go through like what you did for several years, or my daughter, I think it was almost half years to get a simple blood test. Well, it's not simple, it's very important, but we have a foundational makeup. We're a bunch of cells and vitamins and minerals. That's what our bodies are made up of. So when something gets out of whack, it starts making something else struggle. And when that starts struggling, because that's the way our organs and bodies work, it will pass off the job, or another one will jump in to help out. And then things get deposited and stored places they shouldn't. And then that's when you have inflammation. Well, then once you have inflammation, then you've got cancer, you've got diabetes, and you've got heart issues. Then you got a heart attack and a stroke. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
So something's not right. You got to have self-advocacy. You just do.
Yes.
Don't wait for someone else to jump in there and help you. It's great if you have support, but if you don't, just know you're not crazy, and you know what you know, and you know your body. And I appreciate your input or whatever. I was just trying to, hear myself here for a minute. Like I'm trying to get through this. And if, and you need to just kind of cut that kind of negative energy out, get away from it. Tell them, I appreciate your opinion. And, okay, I'm going to handle this. You don't have to have support, but it is great.
Yeah. It's very important for support. And again, I mean, if you have to play quantum leap, you go see as many doctors as you need to see till you get the correct diagnosis. And, I have been blasted by doctors for seeing too many doctors. And they said that was a sign of mental illness.
But like at this point, your mental health was suffering. And it's supposed to. What are you, a gladiator or something from the 1300s before Christ or whatever? I mean,
I am a gladiator. You know what?
Like,
hey,
on.
Shooting at the walls of heartache, bang, bang. I am the warrior. Okay.
Yeah, you definitely have come out on top, thankfully. Because, you're my best friend, so.
But seeing too many doctors, that's not a sign of mental illness. That's a sign that these doctors don't know what they're doing or what they're talking about. And if anybody says you're a hypochondriac or have mental illness for going to see a different doctor because the first one didn't help you, they're completely wrong. They're out of their mind. They would do the same thing. If a doctor wasn't helping you, then you go see a new one.
I'm not really sure, but I'm going to look further into this. We're going to figure this out. It's like I'm going to pass you off.
And a lot of that was passing me off. I'm not the right doctor. I'm not the right doctor. Well, send me to the right doctor. eventually I did get to the right doctor, but it took a lot of doctors. And
Yeah.
that wasn't me being mentally ill. That was me being passed around, or they couldn't figure it out. I needed somebody
Called
to figure
frustration.
it out.
It's called
It's very
frustration and
frustrating.
disparity. God, it is, which affects your mental health. It does. It just wears you out. But it
It
doesn't
does.
mean
It does.
crazy. That's
You
not
know,
crazy. Frustrated, tired.
it's frustrating. Yeah. But it doesn't
Yeah.
make you mentally ill. It just makes
No.
you want to know what's wrong with you. So you go see a doctor, a different doctor.
So
I don't
y'all
know.
are experiencing something and it's not just a checkup and you come in and they use their little 7 minutes to act like they're listening, or maybe they are listening and they're over there punching in your little information, getting a little more history or getting whatever you want to come in and explain and elaborate on. And then there's like, well, and they write you a lab slip to go get you some, a CBC panel done or whatever. And it comes back and you don't hear from anybody. And finally, after, into the next week, you hear back and you don't hear back and you call and they say, oh, no, everything was fine. And you're going, huh? So it's like, yeah. And that's the end of it. And that right there happens all the time, all day long.
It does. I had because I had double iritis right after my injury. It was so bad they said I might have an autoimmune disease, and they sent me for a panel to see if I had autoimmune disease, and I didn't. But you know what was not on that panel? Hashimoto's.
Yeah.
They never tested me for Hashimoto's, and it's so common. But it was not on the autoimmune panel.
Yeah.
It took a whole bunch of different blood tests to finally get there. I think it was like 3 or 4 of them.
Full thyroid panel, which is a full. So it's like your THC and some of those.
Yes.
They don't check them. You have to go and request them. And a lot of times, your insurance won't pay for it if the doctor doesn't come up with a reason why they are drawing blood for this reason.
Yeah. So I ended up having Hashimoto's, but it was not in the first few blood tests that they gave me. And if you're going to give me a blood test, just test everything. I'll pay for it. Just test everything.
Well, so I've had Hashimoto's probably since my early 20s, and I'll be 46 this summer, and they found mine in 2021 as well when they found the type 1, because you have to go down a different set of labs for that. Those are not considered basic, thyroid panel. That's not a basic thyroid panel.
That's crap.
It's unreal.
Just run everything. Why don't you just run everything? And let's just get all the answers.
Start with the basic. Please do me a favor. I'll even come back for a whole nother visit and I'll pay you and you'll get your little office visit of $250. I'll pay my little whatever, part. I think ours is $62. And then he charges what, 3 something? I mean, you just start wondering, is it about money and to keep you coming in and, prescribing you Band-Aids for symptoms. And it's like you're coming in there and they should be treating you and looking for a root cause, period.
Yes.
Which you go back to basic labs to do that.
Yes.
So you don't miss any deficiencies in the body. Then you build on that. It's like a tree of information. You can't have the branches without the trunk.
Right. It just seems so simple. It's just wild. So
well, you guys, I think we better go ahead and try to wrap this up because we'll keep you guys on here probably until 6 p.m.
Yeah. So misdiagnosis in healthcare. I mean, like, it's so prevalent, y'all. I mean, we talked about our own and our kids and our mothers and you probably have a lot of stories yourself and you can relate to these stories.
I'm 100% positive this hits home for people, and just our little nugget of advice is stick to your guns and don't let anybody stop you.
Yeah,
you get tired, keep pushing even harder. Don't let anybody stop you. If they put up a wall, tear it down, do what you got to do, recharge yourself, and go back at it, because it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, you just bust through that wall like Kool-Aid, y'all. So
don't get lost in the sauce.
So, but thank you guys for listening. If you have any ideas for us, let us know. Comments or questions. We love it. Our next episode will be next week. I'm not sure what it's going to be about, but y'all tune in and
it'll be good.
It will be good. It'll be entertaining and informative. All right, y'all.
Y'all have a good week.
Bye-bye. Let's see.